Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I am a 21-year-old woman who just wanted a peaceful home. But let me tell you, the past 6 months have been a roller coaster of frustration and betrayal. Imagine this: your roommate's boyfriend moves into your apartment without asking, uses all your personal items like they are his own, and when you finally stand up for yourself, you are called heartless and controlling. That is my story, and it is one of setting boundaries, reclaiming my space, and learning to prioritize my own peace. So, stick with me, because this journey is raw, and full of lessons. Before we dive in, I need your help to keep this story alive, so if you are listening, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Tell me where you are tuning in from. Are you in a big city, a small town, or maybe halfway across the world? Your comments mean everything and keep me going. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and let us get this story out there. Now, let us get started. First, let me take you back to the beginning, to a time when my life felt balanced. A little over a year ago, I moved into a cozy 2-bedroom apartment with my roommate, Emma, who is 22. We were not best friends, but we got along well enough. We split the rent and bills down the middle, kept the place tidy, and respected each other's space. It was not perfect, but it worked. The apartment was in a great location, with a sunny living room, a small kitchen we both loved, and a bathroom we shared without issue. I felt lucky to have found a place that felt like home, a sanctuary where I could unwind after a long day of classes and my part-time job. Emma was friendly, if a bit reserved, and we had an unspoken agreement to keep things drama-free for a while. That is exactly what we did. Then, about 6 months ago, everything changed. Emma started dating a guy named Jake, who is 24. At first, it was no big deal. He would come over once or twice a week, maybe spend the night, and leave the next morning. I did not mind. I mean, who am I to get in the way of someone's relationship? I would smile, say hi, and go about my day. But slowly, Jake's visits became more frequent. 1 or 2 nights turned into 3, then 4, and before I knew it, he was here 5 to 6 nights a week, sometimes even full weeks in a row. He was not just visiting anymore, he was living here. He slept on Emma's bed, ate in our kitchen, lounged on our couch, and used our utilities like he paid for them. But he did not. Jake was not on the lease, did not pay a cent toward rent or bills, and never once offered to chip in for groceries or cleaning supplies. It was like he had moved in without anyone asking me if it was okay. I tried to be understanding. I told myself that Emma was happy, and maybe this was just a phase. I did not want to be the kind of roommate who starts drama over a boyfriend. So I kept quiet. Even as Jake's presence started to wear on me, the apartment felt smaller with him around. I would come home from a long day, hoping to relax, only to find him sprawled on the couch, watching TV, or raiding the fridge. He barely acknowledged me, rarely saying hi or even making eye contact. It was like I was invisible in my own home. But the real issue, the one that pushed me to my breaking point, was the shower situation. You see, Jake loves to shower, and I mean loves it. He takes at least 2 showers a day, sometimes 3, each one lasting what feels like forever. At first, I did not think much of it, but then I started noticing something. Every time he showered, he used my stuff, my shampoo, my conditioner, my face wash, my razor, even my deodorant. Yes, I noticed, because I am not blind. My bottles were depleting faster than usual, my razor was dull, and my deodorant had that telltale sign of someone else's fingerprints. I was stunned. Who does that? Who walks into someone else's home and helps themselves to their personal hygiene products without asking? I thought maybe it was a one-time thing, that Emma had let him borrow something and forgot to mention it. So, I let it slide, hoping it would stop. But it did not. It kept happening. Day after day, week after week. I started feeling violated. These were not just things. They were my things. Items I bought with my own money, carefully chosen for my needs. Every time I stepped into the shower and saw my half-empty shampoo bottle, I felt a pang of resentment. Why was I, the one paying rent, having to deal with this? Why was Jake, who contributed nothing, treating my belongings like they were his? I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he did not realize. I thought maybe Emma did not know, so I decided to address it. One evening, I caught Emma in the kitchen and said, as casually as I could, Hey, I've noticed Jake's been using my shower stuff. Could you ask him to stop or maybe get his own? She looked surprised, then brushed it off. Oh, he probably did not realize. She said, I will talk to him. I nodded, thinking that would be the end of it. But nothing changed. Jake kept showering, kept using my stuff, and Emma never followed up. I was frustrated, but I did not want to escalate things. Instead, I started moving my shower products to my bedroom. Every time I needed to shower, I would grab my shampoo, conditioner, and everything else, carry them to the bathroom, and bring them back afterward. It was ridiculous. I felt like I was living in a dorm or a summer camp, lugging my toiletries around just to keep them safe. My bathroom caddy became my constant companion, a symbol of how out of control this situation had become. I would stand in the shower, clutching my bottles, and wonder how my home had turned into a place where I had to hide my own things. It was exhausting, and it was starting to eat away at me. Finally, I could not take it anymore. Last week, I decided to have a real conversation with Emma. I waited until we were both home, sat her down, and laid it all out. Emma, I said, I'm not comfortable with Jake being here all the time. He is here 5 or 6 nights a week, using our utilities, eating our food, and using my personal stuff without asking. He is not on the lease, he does not contribute, and it is not fair. I tried to keep my tone calm, but firm. I explained that I would feel differently if he chipped in, even just for his own hygiene products. I was not trying to be mean. I just wanted some respect. But Emma did not see it that way. She crossed her arms, her face tightening, and said, He does not have any money right now. Sarah, he cannot afford to buy his own stuff. You are being cold and controlling. I was floored. Cold controlling over my own belongings, she went on, saying I was overreacting, that it was just hygiene, and that I was making a big deal out of nothing. I snapped. This is not about hygiene, I said. This is about boundaries and respect. He is living here like it is his home, and you are both acting like I do not get a say. The room went silent. Emma stared at me, her eyes narrowed. And I could tell she was furious, but I did not back down. I told her that if Jake had asked, even once, I might have been okay with it. I would have even bought him some basics if they were struggling, but they never asked. They just assumed I would be fine with it, and that made me feel invisible. Emma did not respond. She just got up, muttered something about me being unreasonable, and walked away. After that, things got tense. She barely spoke to me about skiing, and when she did, it was clipped and cold. I heard through a mutual friend that she was telling people I was being territorial and passive-aggressive over a guy taking a quick shower. I started questioning myself. Was I being too harsh? Was I overreacting because I did not like Jake? He was not awful, just kind of moochy and oblivious. But maybe that was clouding my judgment. I felt torn between guilt and anger, wondering if I was the bad guy here. But deep down, I knew I was not. This was my home now too. I paid half the rent, half the bills, and I deserved to feel comfortable. Jake's constant presence, his disregard for my belongings, and Emma's dismissal of my feelings were not okay. I decided I needed to take action. I could not keep living like this, tiptoeing around my own apartment, hiding my shampoo like it was contraband. So, I had another conversation with Emma. This time, I was more direct. I sat her down and said, Emma, this situation is really getting to me. Jake is basically living here. He is here 5 or 6 nights a week, eating, showering, taking up space, and it is crossing a line. I'm not okay with him using my stuff, and I'm not okay with him being here all the time without contributing. I poured my heart out, explaining how disrespected I felt, how I felt like a stranger in my own home. But Emma was not having it. She called me heartless, said I had no compassion for her relationship or for Jake's struggles. He does not have any money, she said. He needs somewhere to stay. And you care more about shampoo than a person who means the world to me. I was done. I told her this was not about shampoo. It was about the fact that her boyfriend, who was not on the lease, had been using my personal items for months without asking. Not once had he or she thought to check with me. Jake barely spoke to me, yet he helped himself to my shampoo, conditioner, razor, face wash, and deodorant like I was running a free spa. I pointed out that he walked past me without a word, hopped in the shower with my products, and acted like it was no big deal. I could not believe I had put up with it for so long. I told her I would have been open to helping if they had just asked. But they did not. They decided it was okay to mooch off me without a conversation. And that was not fair. Emma got defensive, her arms crossed, her voice sharp. "He is my boyfriend," she said. "I am allowed to have him over? This is my home, too." I nodded. "Yes, it is," I said. "But he is not just visiting. He is living here. And if he is going to act like he lives here, he needs to contribute like he lives here." She rolled her eyes and said, "Get used to it. He does not have any money, so he cannot contribute." That was the moment I knew I had to take a stand. I decided to call our landlord. I was nervous, my hands shaking as I dialed his number. I did not want to seem like I was tattling, but I could not ignore it anymore. When he answered, he was calm and professional. I explained everything: Jake's constant presence, his use of utilities and my personal items, the fact that he was not on the lease or contributing. The landlord listened, then said, "That is not okay." He explained that under our lease, guests were allowed for short stays, like an occasional overnight, but someone staying over more than a couple of nights a week consistently was considered an unofficial tenant. If Emma wanted Jake there full-time, he needed to be added to the lease and start paying his share. Otherwise, he had to cut back on his stays. If Emma refused to cooperate, she could be in breach of the lease, which could lead to eviction. Hearing that validated me. I was not overreacting. This was a real issue. That same day, Jake showed up again. He walked in, heading straight for Emma's room, but I stopped him. "Jake," I said, "we need to talk." He looked surprised, his eyebrows raised in that fake confused way he always did. I took a deep breath and said, "I have noticed you have been staying here constantly and using my stuff, my shampoo, face wash, razor, deodorant, everything without asking, babe. I'm really uncomfortable with it, especially since you are not on the lease or contributing." His face changed, and he got defensive. "I am sorry," he said, his tone sharp. "I do not have anywhere else to go right now. I'm in a bad place. I'm not trying to make your life hard. I'm just trying to survive." Then he launched into a monologue about his struggles. He was unemployed, struggling with his mental health. His family had cut him off. His friends had abandoned him. He could barely afford food, let alone shampoo. He asked if I thought he wanted to be in this position, as if I was supposed to feel guilty for speaking up. I stayed calm. "I am not trying to kick you while you are down." I said, "If you had asked, I probably would have said yes. I might have even bought you some basics. But you did not ask. You just helped yourself, and that is not okay." He shrugged, muttering that he did not think it was a big deal and that Emma said it was fine. I shook my head. "It is a big deal to me." I said, "This is my home, ye too. And you have been treating it like a free house. I have talked to the landlord, and things have to change. Either you get added to the lease and pay your share, or you stop staying over all the time. If not, Emma could face eviction." He went quiet, gave a half-hearted apology, and walked away. I think he was more embarrassed than sorry, but I had said what I needed to say. Later that evening, Emma came home, and it was clear she was furious. She slammed the door, tossed her keys onto the table, and dropped her bag with a thud. I was in the living room, and the energy shifted instantly. I waited a moment, then stepped out and said, "Hey, is everything okay?" She did not answer at first, just stood there, her jaw clenched. Then she exploded. "I cannot believe you called the landlord." She said, "Why are you being so dramatic?" I stayed calm. "I told you I was going to call." I said, "I tried talking to you twice, and nothing changed." She laughed bitterly. "Yeah, well, thanks to you. The landlord says Jake cannot stay more than 2 nights a week unless he pays rent. He has nowhere else to go." "Sarah, he is struggling, and you are making it so he has to wander the streets. Are you happy now, knowing your shampoo is safe?" Her sarcasm stung. But I held my ground. "This is not about shampoo." I said, "It is about him living here without contributing, using my stuff without asking. And you ignoring how it affects me. I pay rent. Emma, I deserve to feel comfortable in my home." She crossed her arms, glaring at me like I was the worst person alive. "He is my boyfriend," she said. "Of course I want him here. He is going through so much. And now you have made him feel unwelcome." She told me Jake's family had cut him off for no reason. His friends had abandoned him, and he was at rock bottom. She said he called her after our conversation, sounding like he was about to cry, and was staying at a friend's place tonight. This is just another example of people not caring about him. She said, I felt the guilt trip, but I was done letting it work. I am sorry he is struggling. I said, but this is my home too. You brought him here without asking, let him treat it like his own, and did nothing when it affected me. That is not okay. She went quiet, still angry, but with nothing left to say. I hope you are happy, she said, then stormed to her room, slamming the door. I was not happy. I did not want it to come to this, but I was not sorry either. I had been patient, communicated like an adult, and given them every chance to make it right. Their refusal to respect me was not my fault. To protect myself, I took another step. I went to a store and bought a lockable storage box for my shower products and snacks. I slid it under my bed, set a unique 4-digit code, and felt a small sense of control. No more stolen shampoo, no more raided snacks. It was a small victory, but it meant something. Things stayed tense after that. Emma barely spoke to me, and the apartment was filled with awkward silences and heavy sighs. I kept my boundaries firm, stayed polite, but gave her space. Then, yesterday, I overheard a huge argument between Emma and Jake. I was not trying to listen, but our walls are thin, and they were yelling. Jake accused Emma of being a bad girlfriend for not defending him when I talked to the landlord. You let her humiliate me, he said. You did not even stick up for me. I look pathetic now. He went on, saying she had betrayed him, that real partners protect each other, and that she clearly did not care about him. It was a masterclass in guilt-tripping, Bekai, and I could hear Emma crying, trying to explain. But he kept cutting her off, and then, boom, he slammed the door and stormed out. Emma followed soon after. I felt bad for her in that moment. No one deserves to be spoken to like that. But then, at 2 a.m, Emma came home, clearly tipsy. She stumbled in and started shouting at me. You are just jealous, she slurred. You are mad because you do not have a boyfriend. You cannot stand seeing me happy, so as you ruin it. She called me bitter, pathetic, and said I was sabotaging her relationship because I was lonely. I was stunned. I just sat there, letting her rant until she stomped to her room and passed out. The next morning, I found her at the kitchen table, looking rough and hungover. She mumbled that she did not know what to think anymore, that she thought Jake was only with her for her money. I felt a pang of sympathy. I'm sorry you feel like that. I said, you deserve better. I thought we were having a moment. But then she looked at me and said, this is your fault. My jaw dropped. Excuse me, I said. She repeated it. If you had not blown this out of proportion and gone to the landlord, none of this would have happened. Jake would not be angry with me. You ruined everything. That was the moment I knew I could not stay. I had tried to be fair, to communicate, to keep the peace. But I was done being blamed for their mess. Our lease was up for renewal on August 1st, and our landlord had emailed us to confirm our plans by July 1st. I thought long and hard about it, and I decided I was not renewing. Even if Jake disappeared tomorrow, the trust and respect between me and Emma were gone. I could not live in a place where I felt like an outsider, where my boundaries were ignored, and where I was guilt-tripped for standing up for myself. I deserved better, so I decided to move out. I have not told Emma yet, but I will soon, and I will do it respectfully, giving proper notice to our landlord, Bahima. This weekend, I am starting my search for a new place, whether it is a solo apartment or a shared one with someone new. I am nervous the rent here is reasonable, and the location is great, so I know it might be hard to find something as good, but I would rather pay more and have my sanity than stay in a place that no longer feels like home. Looking back, I see how much I let slide, hoping things would get better. I gave Emma and Jake the benefit of the doubt, tried to be the cool roommate, and ended up feeling walked over. But this experience taught me something important. My peace is worth fighting for. Setting boundaries is not heartless. It is necessary. And sometimes, standing up for yourself means making tough choices, like walking away from a situation that no longer serves you. I'm sad it came to this, because this apartment could have been a dream. But I'm also excited for a fresh start, a place where I can feel safe, respected, and truly at home. So, what is the takeaway? Your home is your sanctuary, papatitu, and you have the right to protect it. Do not let anyone make you feel guilty for setting boundaries or prioritizing your comfort. If you are in a similar situation, know that you are not alone, and you deserve to be heard. I hope my story inspires you to stand up for yourself, no matter how hard it feels. Before I go, I need your help one more time. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Drop a comment below, tell me where you are watching from, or share your own story of setting boundaries or dealing with a tough roommate. Your support keeps this channel going, and I cannot wait to read what you have to say. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next one.